Hey gang, so this is a video covering 3.4 and 3.6. The reason we are doing two sections at once because they are actually the same thing. They're both focusing on finding zeros. One is just talking about imaginary zeros, and the other one is talking about real zeros. So we're going to do both at the same time. So first of all, what is a zero? Zero is an x-intercept. That's where it's going to cross through the x-axis. That's if it's real. Now, if it's imaginary, those solutions aren't going to touch the x-axis. Or if you have something that's cubic like this, that can mean that you have a real and imaginary solutions. Okay? What are methods for finding zeros? So in Algebra 2, you did a lot of this. You did a lot of factoring. So you would factor and then set each factor equal to 0. You also did some quadratic formula. I'm not going to actually use that method because I like complete the square. So that's also a method for finding zeros. If you know quadratic formula and you want to use it, you're welcome to do it, but I'm not going to use it. And you can't make me. So anyway, the last method is just using basic algebra, solving for x. That's really the goal. That's what all of these things are doing. They're solving for x. These are just methods to accomplish that. So if it's something that's straightforward, like x squared minus 5, you can move over the 5 and take the square root. The only time you really need these methods is if you have an x squared and an x, and if you have another number, fine. Okay? So how can you check if a number is a zero? Well, that's kind of giving it away, guys, because if something is a zero, when you plug it in, guess what? You're gonna get 0. Okay? So if you plug a number in and you get 0, that means it's a 0. What's neat is if you, when you have a 0, let's say you have a 0 that's 3. The factor is x minus 3. If you do long division and you get a remainder of 0, a 0 remainder also means that it's a 0. So we're going to incorporate some of those newer skills that we've been talking about with long division. And that brings me to the next thing, is I'm going to show you a shortcut for long division. It's called synthetic division. You can use this or not use this. It's up to you, okay? So, the synthetic division is really great because it's quicker, but like I told you before, is the shortcut only works if you're dividing something that has like x to the first power or a number out in front. So let's say I'm doing x plus 1 divided by, or sorry, other way around. Let's say 6x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x plus 1. Okay, now first of all, if you have any gaps, you do want to put in a 0. If you don't have gaps, that's fine, you can do it. If this is your factor, which means your 0 is negative 1, what I'm doing is I'm checking to see if negative 1 is a 0. If I were to graph this, would it cross through? So this is the shortcut for long division. Now, like I said, it only works if you have x to the first power and nothing in front of x, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down all my coefficients, 6, negative 3, 5, and 1. Now, if I had a gap, I would put a 0. The first step is to bring down the 6, and then, or whatever number's here, you're going to bring it down. Then you're going to multiply and add. Then you're going to multiply and add. Multiply and add. Okay, now what does this mean? This means my remainder is negative 13. This is my coefficient. Then I'm going to put on an x and an x squared. So if you were to actually do long division, you would take this, divide it by that, and you would actually get this. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you. That's synthetic division. And you can choose it whether you want to use this method or not, okay? It's not going to hurt my feelings if you choose not to use it. I do like shortcuts, but I hate when the shortcut doesn't work for everything. So we're going to do one more. First of all, in my little box, I'm going to put a 3. 1, negative 5, negative 2, 24. I don't have any gaps, so I'm not going to put a 0. Feel free to pause at any time. I'm moving quickly. You may need to pause. You may need to rewind, rewatch something. Don't just write all this down. Make sure you're actually understanding what I'm talking about. And you could always go to YouTube and search synthetic division if you want more examples, okay, or a different explanation. I'm going to bring down the 1. I'm going to multiply 1 times 3, and then I'm going to add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So what does this answer mean? Well, if I have a 0 remainder, it means that 3 is a 0. If I were to graph this, it would go through 3. And that's why x minus 3 is a factor. So now I have my coefficient, I have an x, and I have an x squared. I'm just going to count, I go from the back and just keep counting up. So what's neat is that I know my factor is already x minus 3 because 3 is a 0. If you could factor this further, you could go ahead and do that. Is there something I can multiply to get negative 8 and add to get negative 2? Let's see, x minus 4 and x plus 2, does that work? Yeah, buddy, I think it does. So, this is another way to factor stuff that otherwise isn't so easy to factor. And that's why I had to do all these delta maths on factoring. So I want you to take a second, decide kind of if you want to use synthetic division or not. I'm going to be using it. By no means do you have to. If you want to do it the long way, that's totally fine. I'm going to show you another shortcut. This is going to be to help you find possible zeros. So looking at this polynomial, I have no clue off the top of my head what my zeros are, okay? So ways I can do that is I can start to narrow it down a little bit using what's called the rational zero theorem. Again, you can take this method or you can leave it. It is going to narrow it down because I could start picking numbers. I have infinitely many numbers that could be possible zeros. I can pick anything, plug it in, and see if I get 0. What this does is it narrows it down for you. I do want you to make note that this only works for real zeros. So when I look at this, my degree is 5. That means I should have 5 zeros. Now, they could be 5 different. They could be 2 of the same, 1 different. It could be anything that adds up to 5. So this method is only going to find real zeros. What I'm going to do is I'm going to list all the factors of the constant term, which is 8, over all the factors of the leading coefficient. I like to go in order. So my factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. All my factors of 2 are 1 and 2. Now you might be wondering, what the heck is she doing with these plus and minus signs? Well, what I'm doing is I'm thinking of all the possible cases, because to make negative 8, it could be positive 8 times negative 1. It could be negative 8. I could switch the signs around. It could be anything. So that's why I'm doing plus or minus. Now what we want to do is we want to divide. We want to take everything and divide by 1. So 1 over 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is 2. 4 over 1 is 4. 8 over 1 is still 8. So I'm going to list all of those. Then I have to do everything divided by 2. Well, 1 over 2 is just 1/2. 2 over 2, 1, already have it. 4 over 2, 2. 8 over 2, 4. So these are my possible zeros. Possible is the key word. Doesn't mean that they actually are zeros. Keep in mind, I should only have 5. So at most, would 5 of these numbers work? Chances are it probably won't actually be that many, because there could be some repetition, and there might even be some imaginary ones. So this is going to narrow it down. And what I would do from here is I actually have 10 possible zeros. I know you're only seeing 5 numbers, but you have the plus or minus. So that's 10 possible zeros. And what you could do is you could start plugging those in. I could plug in 1. I could plug in negative 1. And all I need to do is find one number that works. Because if you have 1, 0, you can use long division to figure out the rest of the factors. Okay? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do next. So, methods for finding zeros. That's our goal. I want to find the zeros. I want to write the factor form. Okay? If I find the zeros, I can write the factors. If I can factor, I can find the zeros. I should be able to work in any direction. So, if you could straight up just solve for x, that would be great. But I have two different pieces here with x, so that's not going to work. My next thought would be to try to factor it right off the bat. Well, I can't factor this because it is a trinomial. However, this power is not twice the amount of this power. And normally that's what we see is we see x squared and then x to the first. And we don't see that this time. So I can't factor it off the bat. It's kind of weird because I can't use complete the square because it doesn't look like my other complete the square problems. It's not a normal trinomial with the squared and then the first power. So what I'm kind of left with is using those possible zeros and plugging numbers in, and I'm going to try to do long division. So this will be the last problem that I'll cover in this video, and then you'll definitely want to go to my next video where I do a bunch of these examples and just some different variety of problems. Because this is not one of those things where, hey guys, today we're doing this, and these 5 steps are what you do, and this always gets you the right answer. This section is very unique because you actually have to think. You have all these different tools in your belt, and you have to figure out which one is going to get the job done. Okay, so I've kind of eliminated just being able to solve for x and being able to factor. So I am going to find my possible zeros. So I'm going to take the factors of 4. So 1, 2, and 4. And I'm going to divide by the factors of 1. Well, there's really no point in me dividing by 1 because I'm just going to get this. So wow, that really narrows it down. That's only 8 possible zeros. So that's 8 numbers I can plug in. Now, if you want to plug in all 8 numbers, that's fine. The only issue is, like I said, if something's imaginary, you're going to miss it with this method. So you really only need to find 1. So let's just pause for a second, and I want you to start plugging in numbers. I'm going to obviously start with the easier one, which would be 1. So if you plug in 1, what do we get? So once you plug in 1, you see that you get 0. So that means 1 is a 0. So we're going to use synthetic division. I'm going to put 1 in my little box and write down all of my coefficients. And I do have a gap this time right here, so I'm going to put a 0 and then -4. Bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. This should happen. If you plugged in 1 and got 0, you need to get a 0 remainder. And we're just going to count backwards. So that's my coefficient, x squared. Just like I did with the last one, I'm going to factor this. What can I multiply to get 4, and what can I add to get 4? 2 and 2. So the completely factored form of this is x plus 2 squared, because there were 2 of them. And then if 1 is a 0, x minus 1 is a factor. So make sure you go to the next video to finish our notes.